Hey, how's it going? I promised you some recaps for the 31 Days of Bourbon. I didn't do that just because based on views, you guys really didn't care about that and it just seemed redundant. If you truly want to know what happened with the 31 Days of Bourbon, you can watch the shorts. I'll put them in a playlist or something. But what I wanted to do instead was go over the worst of the 31 Days of Bourbon. The 5 that I rated the absolute lowest. And I have them all here in front of me. I have them all in these little bottles labeled A through E. And I also have some Glencairns labeled A through E. Don't know the specific order in which they were poured. I have my wife pour them. Let's go over these real quick. These are the ones I rated the lowest. The very lowest one was Coach James Brown's Slapdick. Apparently not a lot of people can find this outside of Oklahoma, but it's an agave whiskey and it is just sugar. It's so bad. I rated this one a 9. It was my least favorite by far. Next on the list was American Bull and Bear. This one was rated a 10.5, and I think that's being generous. Similar to the Coach James Brown's agave whiskey, but it's just naturally sweet. It's not actually back sweetened with agave like the Slapdick is. I'm not sure why this is so sweet, aside from the fact that it's really, really, really young. So I just don't feel like it picked up a lot of characteristics in the barrel. The one that I rated next was Yellowstone. This is their Yellowstone 108. I've heard a lot of good things about this, but it just had like a weird grassy hay notes that I just could not get over. Was not a fan of this one at all. Next on the list was Jefferson's very old, very small batch. Jefferson's Reserve is a staple for some people. They absolutely love this stuff. It just wasn't that great. I rated it a 15.5. I rated the Yellowstone a 15, this one a 15.5, and that leaves us with Blackened at a 16. It wasn't terrible, it just wasn't great. This is blend of straight whiskeys finished in black brandy casks. Those were the 5 worst ones. Now, which one is the worst of the worst? That's why we're here. I don't know. We're gonna find out though. Let me move these to the side. And there we go. 5 of my lowest rated bourbons that I have in my collection. We're gonna start with A. So that first initial sip's actually not terrible, but there is kind of that grassy note, which makes me think this is that Yellowstone. It just tastes like lawn clippings. Okay, pretty sure that one's Yellowstone. Let's see what B is. B is worse than A. Super sweet, overly sweet, like too sweet. It tastes almost like straight simple syrup. That's really bad. Let's go with C. C is not bad. Tastes a little young. It's not really a lot of depth and flavor, but I would rather drink this one over these two so far. Let's go with D. It's not that bad. It's really, really light in body. Drinks kind of like water. Doesn't have like that. It doesn't coat your mouth very well. Flavors are very smooth though, but they're not. They're kind of one-dimensional. You get some oak. There's a little bit of sweetness, but it's not terrible. So far, this is first place, which leaves E. Very light, very sweet. Not a lot going on. I feel like this is American Bull and Bear. This one is Slapdick. So far D, C, A, E, and B. Let's go with these again. Yeah, that's not a terrible whiskey. It's not my favorite by any means, but it's not terrible. That one's good too. I like both of those. This is Yellowstone. It just like that overwhelming grass note. It does not work for me. This is the defining line, I think. These two, probably the worst. This one's probably the middle. These two probably the best. Let me go with these again. Just super light, not a lot going on. So sweet. By far the worst. Okay, between these two, I think they're both equally bad for different reasons. E has a lack of flavor. There's just nothing going on. A has too much of this like grass, hay, barnyard flavor that's just off-putting. If I were to pick one, I would rather drink E over A. Which is shocking because I'm pretty sure this is Bull and Bear and that's Yellowstone. But I would rather drink this over that, for sure. The top two, D and C, they're fairly neck and neck, and I'm having a hard time deciding which one's better than the other. You know, I think I got this in the right order. I think D barely edges out C. Just because D has a little more characteristic, a little more body, a lot more oak forward. The finish is better. C is very smooth, not a long finish, and just kind of a weak presence on your palate. Just kind of drinks like water, doesn't really linger. E, American Bull and Bear, surprisingly is going to beat out A, which is Yellowstone. The last one's Coach Jason Brown's Slapdick. This is by far the correct order. Let's see if I rated them correctly. So B is Slapdick. That is my least favorite one on the list, so that is correct. A is Yellowstone, which I actually rated higher than E. E is Bull and Bear. So on the initial taste test, these were separate weeks, if I remember right. So I had these reversed where I rated this higher than this, but tasting them side by side, American Bull and Bear edges out Yellowstone. I'm just not a fan of that grassy hay note. I can't do it. Next on the list, C is Blackened. D is Jefferson Small Batch. Interesting, because I had these reversed on the blind where Blackened was rated higher just by 0.5. It was 16. Jefferson was rated at 15.5, but yeah, I think Jefferson's Reserve just has a little more presence. Actually tastes kind of like a bourbon. C's not bad by any means. It's missing something. I don't know what it is, but it's very mild, very sweet, very smooth. But that like oak bourbon in your face characteristic that I like, it just doesn't have. D was again Jefferson's very old, very small batch, Blackened. E, surprisingly, American Bull and Bear. A, Yellowstone 108, and the very last one, Coach Jason Brown's Slapdick. There we go. That's the list. Those are best to worst, the bottom 5 from the 31 Days of Bourbon. Next week, we're going to do the best of the best, which I'm actually excited for. So tune in next week to see best of the 31s that I did, the top 5. I'm excited for that one because these ones just were not great. These two, drinkable. These 3, if somebody wants them, let me know because I still got a good amount of Yellowstone that I'm not going to drink. Thanks for watching. Much appreciated. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And I'll see you guys on the next one.